The Amex curse continues. The Brighton bogies continues. The bogey team of Brighton once again strike against Newcastle United, and so does Danny Welbeck. It might be his fucking 50th birthday next week, but he still turns into prime Ronaldo against us. I'm not talking Cristiano, I'm talking R9. You know what I mean? Shaven, fringe. I can't believe this. Well, I can believe it, actually, because if you had seen my preview, I did predict Welbeck to score and Woltemade to score. Danny Welbeck and Nick Woltemade both to score. I said that in the preview. I said 1-1. And I had that on my bet. But it was Welbeck that had the last laugh once again against Newcastle United. And apparently the Magnums were singing at the stadium and shite, oh, there's only one super Danny Welbeck or some crap. Honestly, man, and this is it the day. Newcastle are 12th, and I don't want to get over the top here. It is only October, but we're 12th. The Magnums won again the day. They're top 6, top 7, whatever. It's early doors. I don't want to hear it, right? I don't want to concentrate. I don't want to know. We're in the Champions League. Yeah, I get that badge right in. We're in the Champions League still. Benfica on Tuesday, so there is that to look forward to, but it is the ongoing concern of these away days in the Premier League when Newcastle United just can't seem to get a result. Not even a draw this time. We got 1-1 there last year. We seem to have a draw against Brighton quite often, hence the reason I backed that on my pick. But today, we just couldn't do it. There's just something stopping us from getting these results over the line. I mean, we had more possession today than Brighton at their home ground. We had more shots, we had more attempts than Brighton, but we still couldn't capitalise. We still couldn't get the win. And let's be honest, let's be real, it's only a moment of absolute brilliance from Woltemade that kept us in the game. That looked like it was going to get us a point with 5 minutes remaining. What is going on, man? Woltemade's flick, his finish, it deserves to get a result. It deserves all 3 points, to be honest. It deserves to go top of the league. Let's just start there with the positives, then we'll get into the negatives. And I see plenty of them on social media, and I don't want to get too far into those and, you know, go overboard this early on in a difficult place in Brighton. But they weren't very good today at all. But like I say, first of all, let's start with the positives. Let's start with Woltemade and that finish. What a touch. What a flick. What a finish that is. That is incredible. That is world class. That is outstanding. And you know, Woltemade throughout that game for me was annoying as at times. I was thinking for his height, for his presence, he isn't doing enough. He isn't battling with Van Hecker and the other centre-back enough in that game. But then it doesn't matter when he can produce moments of magic like that. And it is a moment of magic. It is sensational. That finish is exquisite, exceptional, excellent from the big German. And it looks like it's rescued Newcastle a point. It looks like it may actually spur Newcastle on to get all 3 points. As we were testing the waters, you know, pushing once more, and looked like we could have went on to get a winner. And let's be real, and I said it in the preview as well when I predicted 1-1, I would take 1-1. I would take a point at Brighton. Give me a draw. You know, it's the old cliche, a point on the road in the Premier League is a good result. It is, especially against Brighton, who are a good team, very good coach. But today, they didn't look like that. They didn't look that good today. They really didn't. Brighton weren't a good side today. Danny Welbeck, out of nowhere, scores 2 goals, and they have managed to win the game. Fair play. It's all it takes. It's all it takes at the top level as well. But they weren't good today. They really, really weren't. Newcastle let them off lightly. We started the game very well in terms of possession, in terms of domination. But again, not testing the keeper enough. Not creating enough chances, not doing enough. And that allowed Brighton to come back into the game. It's all good and well having the ball and little test here and there. Captain Bruno Guimaraes early on misses a big chance. He's got to score for me. He's got to at least really test the keeper, and he puts it wide from inside the box. That could have been 1-0 Newcastle, but it wasn't. And then Brighton had the opportunity to kind of grow into the game. The crowd gets into them a little bit. Newcastle fans have travelled fucking absolutely miles, so they start, they're Brighton, the home end, and start getting up a little bit. And they did. And then out of nowhere, Danny Welbeck puts the Seagulls in the lead. And he puts them in the lead because Newcastle were completely asleep. Where on earth was the defence in the midfield, man? They walked through our midfield. It's embarrassing how easy it was for that midfield. to just be absolutely torn apart. And the defence, the middle of the defence, we've all been raving and ranting about Sven Botman and Malik Chow lately. But that was too easy. Far too easy to get in between the middle of those. And you've got Danny Welbeck, who, is he 38 soon? Someone said to me there. 38? Going on, but he's 58. He seems to have been around forever. Longer than Santa Claus. And he's, scoring braces against us. He always has the best games against us. But he does that there. He gets in between the defences. To be fair to him, it's a lovely finish. A delicate little chip. Pope has no chance. And that's Brighton 1-0 up at half-time. But Newcastle have only got themselves to blame. Not being creative enough. Not doing enough. Not testing the keeper. And it has to be said, so far in the Newcastle shirt, Anthony Langa has not done it, apart from the Champions League game against USG. And let's be honest, what's the quality of that opposition with how bad they were? He got man of the match in that one, but he's still yet to really influence a game. Have a stamp of authority and influence on a match. We're waiting for an assist. We're waiting for a goal or two. He looks lost out there. Absolutely lost on the right wing. Anthony Gordon on the left wing. Looks unbelievable for England. Absolutely class. For Newcastle, nothing again. Nout again, no end product. Hooked off. Harvey Barnes comes on, does nout. So the wingers aren't impact the game. The midfield is shattered. I said in the preview, I talked a big game. I said 1-1. I said Welbeck and Woltemade would score. But I said the midfield needed changes. And it did need changes. It really did. How Bruno and Joelinton start after travelling tens and thousands of miles from Asia and back, and flight delays and broken windows and all the rest of it. Then be starting without really a training session or one at most. All the way down the south coast was daft, man. Where's Ramsey? Where's Willock? Is he really in the fucking York maze? He may as well be. Louis Miley comes on. These players need to step up. We need squad depth to be shown here. We shouldn't be relying upon these Brazilian internationals to come back after an international break. And you're telling me Miley can't come into that midfield? Who's Brighton's midfield? That Baleba, who's meant to be going to Man United for big money. He was just hacking everyone. We should be able to make these changes. We should be able to adapt. We should be able to change in matches. We shouldn't be so heavily reliant on the same players. Yes, Tonali was there, but we should be able to allow changes and give other players a chance to show their worth. And we didn't do that. They couldn't do that. And then the wingers as a wind-up. Murphy must be kicking right off. He comes off the bench second half. Chow should have scored second half as well. I'm just thinking when Murphy played out wide, Byrne played it back in, Chow came in. Was it wide or the keeper saved it? There's opportunities there for Newcastle to clinch a win. Even like I said, a draw would have been alright. But getting out from that game against a poor Brighton side, and Danny Welbeck on his own, nearly 40-year-old virgin, nearly 40 years old, and he's out here getting wins for them. It's just piss poor, man. It really is. I don't want to rant and go over the top, even though I definitely have in this video so far. I just feel frustrated because I think the game was there for the taking for Newcastle, and it could have been one of those where you look at it and you think, wow, what an important win that was. What a fantastic 3 points on the road, or even a fantastic draw. What a great result. But no, nothing. Again in the Prem, we're in the bottom half still. Benfica Tuesday, Fulham Saturday next weekend. Big opportunity for Newcastle. Have to get wins in those games, to be honest with you. We're just looking a bit hit and miss this season, a bit on and off. You just don't know what you're going to get with Newcastle so far. Wingers aren't at it, midfield was tired. Defence has been great so far this season, but not today. Welbeck again. He haunts us, Danny Welbeck. Absolutely haunts us. Halloween's came early at the Amex. Oh my God. And yeah, Newcastle had a penalty shout as well. Should have been a pen for me. It looked like handball, but was it too close? Didn't really matter after that. Woltemade scored an unbelievable goal, and unfortunately it means nout. Gets us nothing from the game. Welbeck at the other end. Poor defending, poor midfield. Loads of space for them. Once more. And yeah, lack of ideas, Newcastle, lack of creativity, and a lack of points. A defeat on the road. We've had plenty of 0-0s so far this season. Away from home, plenty of draws. Today we couldn't hold on. A wonder goal from Woltemade. I deserve something out of the game. It's a real shame it didn't count for anything. Is it 6 and 8 games now for Nick Woltemade? Lots of people online kicking off. Going over the top. Maybe I've seen that way in this video. Apologies if I have. It's just one of them ones where I look like it and I think it's there for the taking the day. It should have at least been a draw, never mind going for the win. I feel that way, absolutely. But listen, that'll wrap up my quick match reaction. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe to the Magpie Channel TV, drop a like, and I'll see you on the next one. Hopefully, bloody win.